up, beautiful stars? Today is Monday and it's a beautiful sunny day, hence the sun shining up on my face. I have the hiccups, so excuse that. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about back pain. Now, if you've ever had back pain, you know that it's not a joke. It's uncomfortable, it hurts, it literally will ruin your whole day, depending on how bad it is. So I wanted to come here today and tell you guys, and first of all, I want to talk to you guys about back pain and what could be the potential reason for your lower back pain. Now, this may or may not be something that your doctor has already told you, so you may want to keep watching, okay? If you haven't noticed that there are a lot of doctors who lack nutritional information. They're not really trained in the nutrition field. A lot of doctors are. And because they believe in there's a pill to cure every illness. But with all the side effects and things like that, you don't really want to go. Sorry, you guys, I'm getting my kids ready. But you don't really want to go that route if you can help it. So I'm going to tell you 7 causes of back pain, like I said, that you may or may not know. So keep watching. Now, if you are new, go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe button. And so you don't miss out on future videos, go ahead and click that notification bell as well. And if you are a returning subscriber, excuse me guys, if you're a returning subscriber, sending bundles of love your way, catch it and receive it, it's for you. Now, with that out of the way, if you're interested in WAISTBEADS, I am doing $5 off all my ready to sell items, so you don't want to miss out on that. Check out the description box below if you're interested in a personal tarot reading where we can dive deep in health, in relationships, in anything, okay? Anything. If you want a personal reading, again, check out the description box. If you're interested in needing or wanting a workout partner or someone who to give you fitness tips, again, check out the description box, you guys. The description box is full of a whole bunch of stuff that you guys need to know. As well as a disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I do my own research. I experiment, and that's where my experience comes from, research and experience. But I do not hold a doctor's degree. Okay, so now that that's out the way, let's jump right into it. The causes of back pain, and there are 7 that I'm going to tell you about. But before I do, I've had back problems since I was about 5 years old. I remember because I was in kindergarten, and that's when my back problems really started. And what I came to realize is that because my mother always said, like, oh, it's because, the way you're wearing your book bag. And I'm like, that's stupid. It doesn't make sense. My book bag, because growing up, I was the type of person, I carried everything, like all of my items. When you got school supplies, you're only supposed to take a certain amount for, that. Well, I took every single back to school item that was bought for me in my book bag. So I'm like 5 years old. I don't know how tall, but my book bag is just as big as me. And my back was like, okay, so I've had back pain since I was 5 years old, and up until I was an adult, and it was excruciating. Like, the older I got, the worse it felt like it was happening. And I would have people stand on my back so that my back can crack and things like that. It just didn't help anything. And I want to say in like 2017, it was either 2017 or 2018. I want to say 2018 because I remember not having Saga yet. So 2018, what happened was I was dangling from the monkey bars, and there was like a good amount of space underneath me. So I'm dangling from these monkey bars, and I literally just exhaled all the tension to the lower part of my back. like right here. All the tension. All the tension was in that one area of my back. And as I'm exhaling, I told Sean to pull my legs, just pull them down so that, because it felt like my back was cramped, like being like this, felt like my back was having this pressure like against the disc. And I had the idea that, if my legs get pulled, then the spine will straighten out. And that was the idea I had. Pretty crazy, but it worked, you guys. Like, oh my gosh. Now, mind you, like I said, I've been having excruciating back pain since I was 5 years old. And it wasn't until 2018 that I had that idea to, pretty much have that happen and have my spine stretched out. And whew, my back was literally like, I felt all the tension leave my back. And I've never, like, my back still on and off hurts, but it's never to that excruciating pain like it was when I was growing up. And so that's a big thing. And so you can definitely try to stretch your back out like that, or hang upside down in that machine. It does it as well. You could do that, or you could take these tips that I have, and I'm going to show you guys a magic trick on how to reduce the pain, if not completely get rid of it in that moment. Okay, so the 7 causes of back pain is poor posture, a weak core, and I'll go into details in a minute. So poor posture, a weak core, bending or lifting incorrectly, stress, eating habits, emotional blocks, and tight hips. Those are the 7 causes that I found that lead to back pain. I remember being in high school, and there was a kid around the same age as me, but they had a hunchback because of their posture. Now, poor posture could lead you to having a hunch on your back. Okay, so there are different levels to that. So let me go into details about it. Now, you already know the poor posture. See, I have really good posture because I was in computer class. So that doesn't mean that, oh, well, I have good posture, so none of that applies to me. There are, I mentioned, 7, causes. Now, there could be more. Like I mentioned before, medication, but I didn't put that on the list because I didn't really want to get too deep into the medication. Just look up your medication and look up the side effects, or look up your medication and look up your medication plus back pain and see what comes up. Okay, so I'm not even going to get on the subject of medication, so I'm just going to dive deep on these 7. So, like I mentioned, poor posture, slouching, not really sitting up. You need to sit up straight. Your back, your spine needs to be as straight as it possibly can. Now, when I mean sitting up straight, that doesn't mean sit up so straight that you have a curve in your back. You want to sit up straight so your spine is as straight as possible. Now, this is a big one that I'm about to get onto. So first, I'm just going to go down the line. Poor posture, I just mentioned, when you're slouching, when you're not really paying attention and you notice that your body is slouching, correct it. Okay, correct yourself, sit up straight. And that's pretty much bad posture. Slouching, leaning forward, standing with like this instead of just standing up straight, because what that's doing is you're putting a lot of pressure on that one side of your back and on that one side of your muscle and your disc. So you want to stand up straight just like you want to sit up straight. The other one is a weak core. Now, this one also applied to me, and this applies to you if you do not work out, if you do not stretch, if you do not exercise, then yeah, you have a weak core. And it's surprising, right? Because your stomach has something to do with your back. Yes, you gotta think about it. Everything in your body is connected. You know that your knee bone is connected to everything in your body is connected. So if you have a weak core, which is directly connected to your back, because in the back of you is your back, and in the front of you is your core. So if your core is weak, then so will your back. So I was doing a whole bunch of like, there was a time where I was going through and doing plank exercises, and y'all, I'd lie to you not. My back went from having a huge curve, not a scoliosis type of curve, but I had a really, I still have the curve in my back, but it was deeper. So it's just something to think about. That's just something to think about, you know. So to make sure that you have a strong back, also focus on building a strong core. Like I mentioned, plank exercises is very good. Now, you can do 5-minute planks, which is just a sequence of 30 seconds and two 60-second planks, but it's very, very good. I have a few videos on me doing planks on my channel, so I'll leave a box there. So, bending. You could be bending incorrectly. You could be overusing your muscles too much. You could be sitting too long. You could be sleeping in an uncomfortable position. Okay, and like I mentioned from my experience, you could be wearing a poorly fitted backpack. And if it has a lot of weight in there and it's not fitting you right, that will lead to back pain. Bending. So how many of you bend with your back instead of your knees? Think about that as well, because when you're bending incorrectly, that is putting strain and stress on your back. So let me show you how to bend. Instead of bending with your back, bend your knees. Bend with your knees so that you're using your leg muscles. To carry most of the weight. Okay? And when you're laying, you want to have a pillow that supports your neck and supports your back. Now there are various different types of positions to where you can sleep and have your back straight. And I will have pictures around on this side so that you guys can see. But you can position the pillow under the back part of your legs, and that will make sure that your spine is straight the whole time while you're asleep. Now, you can also have it on, if you're laying on your stomach, you can put the pillow right there where your pelvic and your stomach meets, and you can have it right there. But the goal is to have your spine as straight as possible. And it is suggested that you lay on your back. Yeah, you lay on your back so that gravity will naturally do its thing, and you'll be laying straight on your back, and gravity will just naturally be pushing its pressure on you while you're sleeping, and you don't even feel a thing. But yeah, so moving on to, so we talked about the poor posture, and we talked about the weak core, and now we talked about bending, lifting incorrectly, and now we're going to talk about stress. Now you already know stress is the #1 killer next to obesity. Stress is the #1 killer in the world. So it would only make sense that stress be on this list of reasons why your back hurts. So depending on what type of stress you have depends on where that physical pain from stress will manifest. So for example, because we're only talking about the back, that's the emotions that I'm going to bring in. So the emotional back pain, when we're talking about the lower back pain, in this area, from here to here, that's the lower back pain. Now when we're talking about the lower back pain, if you have anger issues, okay, if you are not satisfied with your job, if you are really having troubles with your root chakra, basically your fear of life, insecurity, having too much to cope with, basically your life overload, then you will have pain because of that emotion, because of that emotional stress. You will manifest pain in the lower parts of your back where I just showed you. Now in the upper part, which is the nape of the neck to the close to the middle part of your back, so your upper neck and back, has, if you are a doer, like if you're so used to being the bread maker or the breadwinner, however you say that, And a lot of financial responsibilities pile up on you, or that's where your responsibility lies. And if you begin to feel stressed out about maybe you're not able to supply enough for your family, or that fear, that stress, that worry of like not being able to do, and that's an emotional security of feeling stuck, then that is where that upper back pain manifests that. Okay, now, and if it becomes serious, you might notice sciatica, which is real bad nerve back pain. In males, prostate and kidney stones. In females, ovary issues, reproducing, and pelvic disorders. So it gets serious, you guys. So this is emotions we're talking about, and the emotional stress we're talking about, and stress killer. Okay, and so moving on to the next thing on the list is your eating habits. Now, it's not so much what you're eating that's causing your back pain, it's what you're eating that's making your back pain worse. Okay, so let's see what is on that list of foods that cause back pains. And they don't, like I said, they don't necessarily cause it, but it will lead to it in excess, and it will also make it worse, because these foods that I'm about to name are inflammatory causing foods, which means that it makes you swell. Okay, it produces inflammation like water, swelling. Okay, so some of the foods are sugar, dairy. And dairy should be number one on the list of things that you want to avoid or keep to a minimum, because dairy is a mucus causing food, which leads to asthma, which leads to bronchitis, which leads to respiratory issues. But we'll save that for another video. I just wanted to throw that out there. Trans fat, which is basically processed oils and damaged fats. Okay, refined foods, alcohol. Like I mentioned, processed foods like factory raised meat and poultry. And that right there, the factory raised meat and poultry, the reason why that's on the list is because it ties back to the emotions. You are what you eat. So when you're eating these factory raised meat and poultry, those emotions are what you're eating as well. And like I mentioned, if those animals felt any type of stress or any type of fear emotions, that will definitely cause some back pain. So this is some things to think about, right? And I already went through the emotional blocks when I mentioned the stress. And now, finally, tight hips. Because, like I mentioned, everything is connected. Your pelvic is connected to the muscles in your back. So when you have tight hip flexors, that begins when your hip flexors are tight and you're still working out, or you're still bending and you're still doing day-to-day things. It begins to pull on the muscle, which begins to strain and pull, which doesn't that sound painful? And that is what also will cause you back problems. So it's very important that you are stretching every day, that's why stretching is so important, to stretch in the morning when you first wake up, because everything is tight. Like I mentioned, if you're in an uncomfortable position when you're asleep and you wake up and you just go on about your day, you're that tight through the whole day until you decide to stretch. If you decide to stretch. A lot of people don't stretch. But it's important, because if, like I said, if your hips are tight, then your back is going to suffer. And so yeah, that was my 7 things that cause back pain. And now I'm going to show you the magic trick to help you alleviate the pain. Okay. Okay guys, so get into something comfortable so that I can show you and so that you can do. Okay, this is the only way that you're going to fix this. Yes, it's magic. It works instantly, okay, to alleviate the pain, but you're going to need to do it, okay? So get into something comfortable. And if you're having immediate back pains, this is going to be the first one you're going to want to do. So the most important thing is to breathe when we're doing these exercises, because what you're doing is you're sending breath to those tight spots and those pain spots. And what that doing is, it's when you're breathing, it's making space, it's making room for the muscles to do what it's naturally supposed to do. Okay, so here we go. First thing that you want to do is you want to be standing up straight. Okay, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn to the side, and I got my shirt tucked in so you guys can see it. And so you're going to lean forward. Number one. Number two is you're going to take it to the ground, you guys. Okay, and you're going to take one foot and you're going to bring it to you. And you're going to sit up straight and you're going to breathe here for 30 seconds. First, stop crawling on the floor, get up. Switch. Okay, and now, guys, what you're going to do is you're going to take it to the ground. Then, and you're really going to push it to your chest. And then both legs. Okay, this is the final one, you guys. And boom, just like magic, lower back pain is relieved, upper body is relieved. So you guys, that was it. And like I said, it works like magic. Do it every day. Every time you feel pain, do it. And do it every morning. Do it before you go to bed. Do it consistently, and you will notice that your back doesn't hurt as much, or the pain just completely subsides. So yeah, I hope this video was very informative for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share to someone you might think it will help. Okay?